Best build for Lingsha, Jade, and FeiXaio. Gamers, we are getting 6 rerun banners in 3.0, so I figure why not talk about how to build these 3 characters coming in part 1, and then we'll do a follow-up video for part 2 if you guys like this video. And I know you probably didn't pull every single character, so please look for timestamps either in the description or on the video timeline to see the actual build that you want to see for this video. And how these builds are going to go, they're going to be very quick, very fast paced, so make sure you pause if you do need something. I'll try to have all the information up on the screen when I can. So pause, take screenshots if you need to, whatever the case might be. We have 3 characters to go over today. So let's start off with the bunny mommy herself, Lingsha. So the basic premise of how Lingsha is going to work, guys, is she uses her skill to summon in Fuyan. Fuyan is her bunny. This is how you're going to be getting your heals. Because what Fuyan does is every single time they are back up in the action order, they will be first healing the whole team and then also dispelling 1 debuff from the whole team as well. They also attack every single enemy on the field, so this is a great source of DPS, especially if you're running her on a break-oriented team, because she can do some pretty massive break damage. And the build we'll talk about a little bit later in this video, but the big thing with Fuyan, guys, they will only heal if you have stacks on them. So basically, the first time you use your skill, you get 3 stacks. And every single time Fuyan acts, they will be using one of these charges. So how do you get these charges back up? From using the skill move. So essentially, 1 skill move will provide you with 3 heals for the team whenever they get back in the action order. On top of this though, guys, she does kind of have like an oh shit button heal, so you don't necessarily have to completely rely on the actions here, because one of her major traces basically allows Fuyan to act whenever one of your allies drops below 50% HP. Fuyan will be advanced to the front, do an attack, heal the whole team up, and then finally, guys, the ultimate move. Her ultimate move basically attacks every single enemy on the field. You'll be putting this debuff called the fog on the enemy, which makes them take additional break damage. Like I said, she's really good for break teams. We'll talk about teams after this as well. But on top of this, guys, this also acts as an oh shit button, because if you run low on HP, you have her ultimate up, and then it also automatically will be bringing Fuyan back to the front as well, and then giving a heal and a cleanse for the whole team there as well. So now let's go ahead and talk about her best in slot teams. Realistically, guys, she is a healer, and she does her job quite well of healing the team, so she can realistically be ran in any team you want to run her in, because she is a sustain at the end of the day. So if you didn't have 2 limited sustains in your account, she can work in any team, but the best teams she works in are break-oriented teams. So teams with Firefly, teams with Rappa, teams with Boot Hill. These are going to be the best types of teams that she works in. Those are the teams that I recommend. But let's go ahead now and hop into the light cones. Her best in slot option here is obviously going to be her signature light cone, because this is going to be giving her increased break effect. And then on top of this, guys, you're also putting a vulnerability debuff on the enemy as well. That means they take more damage, especially from breaks. This works with break, so this increases the break damage you're doing on enemies as well. And I know what you might be asking right now. It has break effect. What is break effect good for? She gets additional attack percentage and outgoing healing based off the amount of break effect that you have. So if you're building into break effect, you're getting stats completely for free on her. And then on top of this, obviously, outgoing healing is giving you more healing. Attack is giving you technically more break damage you're doing with her. And then also, that will be enhancing her healing as well, because her healing numbers does scale off of attack percentage. So these are all really good things to help her heal the rest of the team. And then we can continue with this trend. If you don't have her signature light cone, you could always run the free-to-play S5 What is Real light cone. This is going to be giving her increased break effect, and then also whenever the wearer uses a basic attack, which we'll be using a lot of, you can actually restore your own HP back up. So that means if she's getting targeted, it does help her self-sustain herself more. But the break effect is the main thing you're wanting here. And as a third best in slot option, the personal option that I use is actually S5 post-op conversation. Now, the reason I use this, guys, is because first of all, it gives a better heal from her ultimate move, and then on top of this, it'll be increasing her energy regeneration rate by 16%. But I only recommend using this light cone if you have it at S5. If you don't have it at S5, don't use this light cone. It's not going to be worth it. Now let's hop into the best in slot Relics Sets. The 4-piece Iron Cavalry is going to be her best in slot set. This is going to be giving her increased break effect, which inherently affects the damage she's going to be doing. It's also going to be affecting the healing that she's doing too. You could also run a 2-piece break, 2-piece break. This just gives you 32% extra break effect. All around really good. Her best in slot 2-piece planner set is going to be a 2-piece forge. This is going to be increasing her speed, and it's going to be increasing her break effect even more, because she is fire type and she'll probably be hitting fire enemies. And then finally, guys, another option you could use for the planner set would be a 2-piece Talia. Now to quickly hop into the main and substats now that you want for her. On the boots, guys, you want speed here. You want her to be as fast as possible. On the body is going to be outgoing healing. On the sphere is going to be attack percentage. On the link row is going to be energy regenerate or break effect. The only reason I would recommend running break effect here is if you have S5 post-op conversation. Would not recommend it otherwise. As far as those substats go, I really just recommend speed, break percentage, and attack percentage. These are the 3 substats you would be aiming for, as well as the minimum number of stats I would recommend too on these guys. But that's really all that I have to say now about Lingsha. Let's go ahead and hop into the mommy Jade herself. And the reason I say Jade for this part of the video is because we don't have much footage of Jade, guys, so you're going to bear with me for this part to get to FeiXaio after this. And the basic breakdown of what Jade's going to be doing, guys, is she is going to be sucking your soul. She's going to be sucking your pockets dry and also the soul of your allies as well, because what she does is her skill move targets one ally, you put a speed buff on that one ally, and each time that ally attacks, you will be losing HP on that target. But you do get one extra benefit out of this other than just speed, because her whole shtick is doing follow-up attacks based off the amount of actions that ally is taking and attacking, right? So after getting H charges, guys, she's going to be hitting every single enemy on the field with her follow-up attack. But this is not where her fun ends, because she also gives herself a lot of free stats. First of all, at max stat, guys, she can give herself 120% free crit damage and then 25% extra attack as well. Just makes her very easy to build, because all you really need to focus on is crit rate at this point. And then finally, what her ultimate is going to be doing, guys, this also hits every single enemy on the field, but it'll be making the next two follow attacks she does enhance. So it's kind of like Topaz in a way, where you upgrade Newbie for 2 times Newbie comes around. Same exact thing for Jade here, but that's the basic breakdown of how Jade works. She's going to be playing off your allies' actions and getting attacks based off of that. Now let's go ahead and talk about her best in slot teams, because she can only work with a certain amount of characters. Obviously right now her best in slot option is going to be the Herta. The Herta is going to be absolutely a match made in heaven for it. But outside of that, guys, you can run her on teams with Lingsha, you can run her on teams with Blade, you can run her on teams with Herta, Himiko, even FeiXaio on a dual DPS team. You can run her in a bunch of different scenarios as a sub DPS, as long as that ally does have a lot of actions. Like Blade can have a lot of actions because he can follow up. Also, you reduce his HP, which ultimately increases his damage. Herta, Himiko, obviously they're pure fiction fiends. Her main shtick is pure fiction and kind of apocalyptic shadow now, so she can work in those situations too. So overall, these are the best in slot teammates that I recommend for. Now let's go ahead and talk about those best in slot light cones. And obviously that best in slot is going to be her signature light cone, because her signature light cone is going to be increasing her crit rate. She already gives herself a lot of crit damage, so crit rate is very effective here. Also, for every 20% of crit damage that exceeds 120, she'll be getting increased damage to her follow-up move. And then finally, she'll also be ignoring some of the enemy's defense, so she does a lot to give herself some extra damage, and trust me, she fucking needs it because of how inconsistent she can be at times. So you want to make sure you bring her in the right scenarios. So this light cone really does help with the damage when she actually does get to her damage. Number 2 best in slot I'm going to recommend today is Another Peaceful Day. This is going to be a battle pass light cone. What do you know? The lady that sucks your wallet dry is also going to suck your wallet dry for either her signature light cone or her second best in slot, which is a BP light cone. Good luck paying $10 on that one, bud. Basically, this is going to be giving her increased damage based off of her max energy. So 3 damage percentage there. Pretty good, I guess. You could also run Genius's Repose here as well. That's another viable option to run. And then her best in slot free play option is actually going to be Eternal Calculus. So yeah, honestly, I don't think that she has very many free to play options or very many good options outside of the first and second best in slot, but do with that information as you will. But that's really all I have to say about light cones now. Let's go ahead and hop into those best in slot relic set. Her best 4-piece set is going to be a 4-piece quantum set, because 4-piece quantum set, if you're facing a quantum weak enemy, there's a free 20% defense shred. You cannot pass this up. Alternatively though, guys, if you're not running her in a quantum scenario or you're not running her against quantum weak enemies, her second best in slot and very close second best in slot is going to be Ash Blaze. This is going to be increasing her attack percentage and her follow-up damage as well. Hopping into those planner sets now, I would recommend a 2-piece Izumo here. Izumo gives her increased attack and also increased crit rate. You'll probably be running her on a team with another Erudition unit for the most part, especially if you're using her with the Herta. You get crit rate, she gives herself a lot of crit damage, so get as much crit rate as possible. This gives you free crit rate. There's nothing that can go wrong here. Second best in slot here, especially if you can get the crit rate you need before anything else, is going to be Duran, because Duran's giving her a 25% damage increase to her follow-up damage and then an additional 25% increase to her crit damage as well. Also, quick little mention, Sigonia can also work here as well. It does give free crit rate and then also gives 40% crit damage there too, but this can only be really used in pure fiction. If you plan on using her outside of pure fiction, really don't recommend this planner set. Hopping into the main sets now, guys, on the boots, I would recommend attack percent here. She relies off your allies' action, so getting speed here really doesn't matter too much. Actually, getting more turns with her is kind of counterintuitive because her skill works off of her action order and not the allies that has the buff on them. Anyways, on the body is going to be crit rate or crit damage. Obviously, crit rate is going to be the most important thing to get here. You want to make sure her crit rate is in check, which we'll talk about in a second here. For the link rope, it's going to be attack percentage, and then for these spheres, it's going to be quantum damage. Hopping into those subsets now, crit rate, crit damage, attack. These are going to be the best subsets I would recommend getting, with all of the minimum stats that I recommend getting on her. But guys, with Jadusi out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the non-Foxy Bombi, because I learned that she's not a fox recently. Surely I didn't just skip through the story mode when they said that, right? Anyways, FeiXaio. I'm probably butchering that name still, and you'll probably let me know in the comment section down below. I don't give a fuck. Anyways, the basic premise of how FeiXaio is going to be working, as I see here has a single targeted Acheron, right? Basically, her ult works in the same way as Acheron's ult. You have no energy here, and it's reliant on your allies' actions. The more attacking actions your allies do, the more she gets this charge up. So let's say something like Topaz goes, Numi goes, Topaz goes. You'll be getting 1.5 charge towards her ult right there. On top of this, guys, though, she does do a lot of follow-up attacks. Her ultimate move is considered follow-up attack damage. She also does follow-up attacks from her skill and talent as well. So whenever you use a skill for the first time, and then you'll immediately be launching a follow-up attack after that. And then whenever your ally attacks the enemy, she then launches another follow-up attack on the enemy. So you can combo this up really well with some of your follow-up S characters to kind of get their actions in the mix there as well to supercharge her ultimate. Also, big thing with her ultimate move, guys, before we hop into the damage and kind of how it works, is you can actually get 2 full charges of her ultimate move before you actually have to use it. So at 6 stacks, she's getting an ultimate, but you can charge it up to 12 times, meaning you can bank a whole ultimate in kind of like 99% of a second ultimate before you have to use it, or you're wasting anything, because her whole main shtick is single target damage, because her ultimate move only targets one enemy on the field. But the big thing with her ultimate is it has 2 separate damaging types, one for breaking down shields, which she absolutely clobbers through shields, and one for additional damage once that shield is broken. So realistically, you want the shield to be broken before using the ultimate move, but if the shield's not broken, she will definitely be clearing that shield up for you, and on top of that, doing some massive damage after the fact. Also, the damage from this ultimate is non-transferable. If you kill the enemy before you are done with your ultimate, you're feeding that damage into the dead enemy, so don't do that. Now let's go ahead and talk about her best in slot teammates. Starting off at number 1, guys, her follow-up team with Robin, Topaz, Adventurine. This is gonna be your best in slot team. You just get so many different actions on the team, especially from Topaz and Noombi. Triggering extra follow-up attacks brings Noombi up in the action order, which then allows her to get extra charges faster. Overall, just a match made in heaven, but there are more free play options to run this team. Like, you can run Moze, you can run March 7 on this team as well. Both of those characters can help her out in doing damage. Her best in slot team, though, will be a team with Topaz. Coming as a close second is going to be E6 Moze in that team, because he can offer very similar things to what Topaz can offer. She just offers a little bit more than he can. As far as additional supports you can run if you didn't have Robin on the team, Sunday, Branya also work here too. And honestly, I think Remembrance MC could be a very decent option to run here as well. And then finally, for supports, I mean, Adventurine, obviously the best in slot here. Lingsha can also work here too. You can also run Gallagher. Gallagher has multiple actions which help charge your ult back up. I mean, realistically, you do want to only be running her in a follow-up S team, because her whole action and kit relies off of additional actions your allies are doing, and if you're not doing those actions, then she's not getting damage out as fast. But hopping into her best in slot, light comes down. Hit the subscribe button, gamers, please. You got scammed, or maybe you watched this far of the video and you might want to subscribe anyways, please. Anyways, let's hop into that feixiao build. Number 1 being her signature light cone. Her signature light cone is going to be giving her crit rate, which, god damn, she fucking needs it, guys. I'm not going to lie. She needs crit rate, bro. If you're at 99.5% crit rate, she is not critting. You're at 50%, okay, bud? So this crit rate here does come in a lot of clutch. It's also going to be allowing you to ignore up to 54% of the enemy's defense as well whenever you're launching her ultimate move off, so that's an absolutely massive number. So her second best in slot option here is going to be sword play. She is very single target oriented, so sword play is actually very, very easy to build up on her, because you're only targeting one enemy, so this buff does build up very quickly. But the one caveat with this light cone that I have is that it doesn't provide crit rate, and my god, she absolutely needs it, which is why we have her third best in slot, her free-to-play light cone, which honestly, if you don't have crit rate, you definitely want to run this light cone, guys. It gives you 16% base crit rate increase, and then if an enemy is below 50% HP, it gives 32% increase of crit rate. So this is an overall really good light cone. It also gives her attack as well, which can help, but the real big thing here is getting the 32% crit rate with enemies under 50% HP. This is absolutely massive. This means you can kind of maybe hold off on using her ults until she's below that marker, and then pop off with your attacks there. And as we're talking about crit rate, let's go ahead and talk about her best in slot Relics Sets now. We're starting off with her best 4-piece set, guys. It's going to be the 4-piece wind soaring set. This is going to be giving her an additional 12% attack, and then at a 4-piece additional 6% crit rate, and then on top of that, 36% extra damage to her ultimate move. So I mean, this set was kind of made for her, though. There are other options you can run, like the 4-piece Ash Blaze set. This will be giving her increased attack percentage, and then on top of that, increased follow-up damage as well. Though another set I can recommend is a 2-piece Ash Blaze with a 2-piece Ordeal. This gives you free 8% extra crit rate, and then on top of that, you're getting a free 20% crit damage as well. So if you couldn't manage to get the 4-piece wind soaring set, then this 2-piece set is a very good set as well. Now for the best in slot planner set, guys, I personally recommend 2-piece Inazumo here. I don't think it's the most damaging set you can have, but I think it will unlock more damage potential, especially if you're struggling with crit rate, because most of the time you're running her on team with another hunt character anyways, so getting a free 12% crit rate here is absolutely massive, and then on top of this, you're getting free 12% attack rate, right? If you're able to get her crit rate in check from your substats, then I do recommend running a 2-piece Duran, because 2-piece Duran gives her 25% extra follow-up damage, and then on top of that, 25% extra crit damage as well. This is the more damaging set, but I would probably put it as her second best in slot because crit rate is so important. But hopping into those main and subsets now, guys, on the boots, I recommend attack percentage or speed here. Personally, I run attack percentage, but you can run speed here if you want to. On the body, guys, it's going to be crit rate or crit damage. Crit rate preferred. Run crit rate. Don't run anything else. Run crit rate. On the rope is going to be attack percentage, and then on this sphere is going to be wind damage or attack percentage as well. Hopping into the subsets now, it's going to be speed, crit rate, crit damage, and attack percentage. As you'll see on screen now, these are all the stats that I recommend getting for at a bare minimum. You see this crit rate's absolutely massive. You want crit rate, trust me, guys. And the speed number here is really going to depend on how you're running your feixiao. Anyways, guys, those are the best builds for the 3 characters we're getting in the first half of 3.0. If you enjoy this video, please subscribe to the channel. I'd much appreciate it. A lot of work goes into these videos, and you hitting that subscribe button or even liking the video would go a long, long way. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. My voice is dead, and I will see you in the next one later. Bye-bye.